Hey everybody, today we have a 95 Honda Acty, and they have put Mazda Miata wheels on it with a spacer. And let's see, what size tires are these? These are 185/65 R14s. Okay, so he's got an inch, I don't know how big of the spacer is, 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch spacer in the back, and he's got a spacer in the front also. So the problem is you can see right here, there's no clearance here, and you can see on the one side where the tire has been rubbing. So we bought one of those 2-inch lift kits for this little guy. Let's see, you can see right here, the tire has actually been rubbing right there on the frame in the front if you put 2 people in it. So we have bought the 2-inch lift kit to put on here, and we'll go over how to put the lift kit on the little mini truck, and hopefully that'll give him enough clearance so the wheel won't rub. All right, here is the 2-inch lift kit we got for that Honda Acty. There's the part number. I don't think it's going to do anybody any good. There was no instructions at all in the kit. So obviously these are the 4 shackle bolts. You get 4 shackles, and I guess you can adjust it, you know, higher or lower depending on the size of tire you want and the type of look you want. And then on the front is a strut style front suspension. So this piece will bolt on top of your strut, and then this piece will bolt in your car like so, just like I have this one. And then the bolt goes in the top here, so you can adjust the camber. That's correct, I always want to say caster, the camber back and forth. Now I guess you could adjust the caster back and forth, but you're gonna really need to adjust the camber. I don't know why they have 2 cut marks. Maybe because one of the cars is like this and one of the cars is like this, because this is kind of a universal set that I think does everything, including the Subarus and the Mitsubishi. And it also comes with all your bolts here to bolt this up to the car. So there's the kit. I don't know how much it was, I didn't buy it, but it doesn't look that hard to put in. You open up the seats, then you take your bolts out, and the strut will drop down. You bolt this up to your original strut, you bolt this in to the car with these bolts, and then you put this in, and then you can adjust the camber back and forth. You're not really going to be able to do anything with the caster with it, but you can do the camber back and forth. Luckily I have a camber gauge, because unfortunately our alignment rack, I don't think we're going to be able to align the car. We're just going to have to do it with a measuring tape. All right, so this is the kit, supposedly a 2-inch lift. Hopefully it'll get the body up off those Mazda Miata wheels so they don't rub anymore. So we're going to start on the rear of the Acty. It's so much easier. So here is the rear tire. Don't think we need to take the rear tire off. Here is the original rear shackle right there. So it's got a bolt and a nut and a bolt and a nut. So we are going to jack the truck up, and let's see. It looks like we're going to be able to put, we need to lift the body, just the body. How are we going to lift the body? Well, oh, I guess we can lift it right underneath. Let me come underneath here. Since it's independent suspension. Oh man, where are we going to lift this? We can't lift it from the axle because we need this to drop down. Maybe we'll get the floor jack and we'll jack it up on the one leaf spring perch. Now let me get the jack and figure out how we're going to jack it up. And we might need to use 2 jacks. I think I'm going to put a jack underneath here to get it up off the ground. I don't want to lift it up underneath the transmission or the transaxle or the motor. So we'll get a jack, we'll jack it up here, get this wheel off the ground, and then we'll put another jack under the rear end so we can control the swing of the rear end since we have 2 floor jacks. All right, we're taking the 2 14mm bolts out on the rear shaft. All right, we have it jacked up underneath the perch of the front axle, and we have another jack over here holding the axle up. So now that he's taken the that off, so there's the outer piece of the shackle, and it's hitting on the exhaust. You hold the camera. Almost got it out. All right, we're trapped on the heat shielded exhaust. Let me get this out and we'll come back. Alrighty, we have both rear shackles, so we're gonna put it together. I'm just gonna put the bolt through this way and then in through here, but wait a minute, there's an awful lot of slop. Awful lot of slop. Boy, I don't like that. See, these bolts have a shoulder on it. These bolts don't have a shoulder on it. Let me see if I can find some type of shoulder, because I don't want this thing being all loosey-goosey in these bushings. So we're gonna have to try to find some type of shoulder. First problem. All right, to explain better what's going on here. Here is the original shackle. Here are the bushings that were in the leaf spring. See how this is shouldered here? There you go. So these bushings kind of fit tight on the shoulder, okay? So with the new bolts that they came with, the bushings, slide this on here, the bushing does not fit tight. So we measured this shaft, and this is basically 5/8. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get 4 5/8 bolts and then drill out the holes here and here to 5/8, and that'll take up the slop, because we don't have any type of sleeve to fit on here. We'll never find a sleeve that will fit on here to works, so we'll just get bigger bolts, and that should take care of the problem. Now, this is a universal kit. It's supposed to fit all of them, the Subarus, the Hondas, the Mitsubishis. All the mini trucks are pretty much the same, but not the same. So hopefully we won't have the problem with the struts, but there you go. So we are probably going to drill the holes out to 5/8 and get new 5/8 bolts, and this will take care of this problem. Once we get the 5/8 bolts, we'll come back and show you what we did. All right, so we went ahead and bought the 5/8 bolts. The 5/8 bolts aren't going to fit through the shackle, so luckily we have a step bit, and we're going to use a step bit and drill the holes out. So the first thing I need to do is I always like to take and mark 5/8, so that's where I need to cut to. So got it in the vise. Wish I had my drill press. And, wow, pretty soft metal. All right, let me get these holes all drilled. I was thinking that I might have to not drill this one out because it's not gonna have a lot left, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and drill it out to get them the full height. So let me drill all 4 of these out and we'll go back to the car. So I'm still working on this Acty. So what we did is we bought bigger bolts, like I showed you in the previous video, to take up the slop in the bushings, so this wouldn't drop down. So we went ahead and disconnected the shackle on that side, and it still wouldn't drop down. This is only supposed to be a 2-inch lift. Well, this looks a lot longer than 2 inches to me, but I'm not sure. But the problem now is that the shocks are too short. Right now, if I let this down, see, the jack's not even touching. There's no shackle in here, and it won't come down any farther. So I disconnected that shackle. It still won't drop down any farther. These shocks will not drop down far enough. Now, the next problem is if we do get the different shocks, look at the angle that these CV joints are in. Look at the angle of that one. That's terrible. It's not going to work. This kit is not going to work. Maybe this is just one of the weird years. Maybe it's because it's 4-wheel drive. I don't know. So here's another problem. I started messing with the inside. But here's another problem that we're going to have. I don't think this is the right kit. So here's the upper strut tower, right? So this plate is going to bolt on top of the strut. This plate is going to bolt in the car underneath. Well, if we had this bolted underneath the car underneath, and this is the adjustment bolt, you are not going to be able to adjust this bolt because it's got this cap on it. I've seen other cars that do not have this cap on. So you're going to have to cut this cap off, or at least cut a slice in it, because when you lift the car up, the tire is going to want to go it's going to camber out at the top. So you need that slice to move it back in to camber on the top. Well, I just got done talking to the guy that owns it, and he says he doesn't want to cut it. Put the shackles back on. He's going to try to get smaller tires for it. So obviously these universal kits do not work on all these Actys. So this is a big failure. Trying to put a 2-inch lift kit on this is a big failure. I guess you got to throw the lever to get that back down. Oh, anyway, so it looks like a nice kit, the shackles and everything, but it's just not going to work on this car. So we just went out and bought 5/8 bolts for nothing, and the lock washers. So this is a big fail. Maybe I'll do a little bit more research. Maybe those CV axles will take and handle this, but I don't think they're going to. They're going to be at way too much of an angle. So this is a big fail, front and rear. These universal kit is not working on this Acty, and this is a 4-wheel drive model, 1995, right? Yeah. 1995. So anyway, everybody, this is a fail. We're going to put it back together stock. He says he's going to try to get smaller tires for it. And of course, the guy that originally had it had the original 12-inch tires, threw them away. We don't know why he threw them away. Eventually, we'd come up with some 12-inch tires for it. Alrighty, everybody, it's a big fail on the Honda Acty. Thanks for watching. You can subscribe always down in that corner, and please give me a thumbs up if you like my videos.